We are big fans of Alvarez guitars. Today, we want to take a look at these two great Laureate series guitars. Huge bang for the buck. You want to stick around for all the specifications. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We are here with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas, and you can find us online at alamomusic.com if you're new to the channel. Make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you want to support the channel, you can visit our spring store link below for custom swag and check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts at. So we've done some stuff with Alvarez guitars, Yairis, also some of the Laureate series. These we have not covered yet.
Yeah, these are new 2025 NAMM release.
Very, very cool guitars. These are the LD70.
Yeah.
And that one has a...
It's LDR70E.
LDR. Got the
E at the end.
Because there are cool pickups in here, which I also want to talk about. But if you are unfamiliar with the Laureate series, to summarize, could we basically say very high-grade materials with a bench approach to building guitars made in China to give you a lot of really high-end features at a lower price point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go. What is that lower price point? Let's not keep you waiting. This guitar that I'm holding, which is the LD70e, and the, what do they call the Shadow Burst, right?
That is Herringbone Sunset.
Herringbone Sunset. And it is a beautiful sunset with this herringbone. This all-solid wood acoustic electric guitar will set you back $14.99.
Yep.
Which is a really good deal. Is that the same price for the art?
This is the same price. Yep. They are amongst a lot of different new Laureates from NAMM this year for 2025 that are all kind of in that price range. There's some a little bit less, some a little bit more, I believe. But these, we did the Daybreak Laureates. Those were kind of an experiment for us. We did the video, and then we ended up kind of catching a lot of people's eye with those. So I think part of Alvarez's thing right now, which I totally agree with, is a lot of people want the Yairis. They're definitely going to, double the price of one of these, and they want to bring some of that approach to a generally more affordable guitar. But they're doing a lot of really cool finishes, all solid wood, a lot of different body shapes. So we got the Dread and the 12 fret Dread, but there's parlors. There's 12 fret triple O's, there's OM size. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can get these, aesthetic appointments, but also the high quality wood and all that stuff. I think it's really cool.
And I like this approach. So in the Laureate series, they are really going after a traditional guitar approach with the aesthetics, with the design choices. So like the bridge is one of the things that is more of a traditional style bridge. And a huge focus on everything being done to a degree of excellence. Yeah. The finishes on these are just phenomenal finishes. Yeah. They are nice and thin. They're executed on well. All of the woods are solid, like we talked about, and really high quality. These are AAA grade spruce tops on these. We've got not just the FTS6 bracing, or is it FT6 bracing?
FST6.
FST6 bracing. It was in there somewhere. The FST6 bracing. It's not just a forward-shifted scalloped bracing that resembles other, old-style vintage guitars, but even the bracing is chosen for lightness in what they're doing. So it is a bench approach. It's a one at a time, hand-selected component approach to building guitars, but doing it in China to keep the cost down. And I know there's a lot of opinions out there about guitars made in China or guitars made in the U.S. or guitars made wherever. Here's what I'll say. This is the way that it should be done. If you're going to make a guitar overseas, the idea should be to execute at a lower price point relative to features. That's the whole reason to do it. Yeah. And they're totally executing here. These play well. They sound really good. Don't take my word for it. You'll hear it in a bit. And they just look incredible. And they're really good values.
Yeah. Really nicely made. They come with pickups, which is LR Bags, correct?
It's the LR Bags Hi-Fi, which is super cool because, and I'm sure it's not the only one, but this is the first guitar I've played that it comes from the factory with the Hi-Fi. If you aren't familiar with what the Hi-Fi is, it was introduced kind of last year-ish or at the tail end of the prior year, and then the Duet was a surprise at NAMM last year. But it's LR Bag's latest bridge plate transducer. So there's nothing under the saddle, which is a bone saddle in this particular case, but it's a twin conductor on the bridge plate with a very, very natural sound and sound hole controls, which is pretty awesome. So it's been a really popular pickup. I know our buddy Blake had one installed in his custom shop, Martin, because it was a long saddle, didn't want to mess with it, and it sounded really fantastic, very natural. So I like it. I like that style of pickup, and it's cool that it's in here. Let's talk about some specs. So both of these are all solid rosewood. We talked about solid Sitka spruce tops AAA. Bracing is the FST6, so it's a 4-shifted scallop brace. You've got this beautiful burst, shadow burst.
Herringbone Sunset.
Sunset burst. Why do I keep calling it shadow burst?
Because Alvarez also does shadow burst, and
That's
it looks
why.
good. Yeah.
There you go. I like the dual ring rosette. Ebony, bone, if you know. African mahogany neck, open gear tuners. And it's 25.5-inch scale length on both of these with a 1 3/4-inch nut width, which is most people's preferred nut width.
Yeah.
So.
And also, who else in the price point does a 12-fret dread or a 12-fret triple O? There's not a lot out there.
There's not. There's really not. It's one of those. You either find there's lower price stuff, where it's like all laminate or maybe a solid top, and then there's much more expensive stuff. But it's not something you see much in this price point.
I think it's cool that they're offering this and that they're also offering the 12-fret triple O because as of right now, I don't think any of the other brands that we carry really offer that.
Closest thing might be an M body from Guild, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's more. Or it's around there, but it's very stripped down.
It's 14 fret.
And it's 14 fret.
So. It's a unique offering. I think it's cool. I like the old school aesthetic. Love the burst. There's also non-bursted versions. There's mahogany also in the Laureate series, but for a couple killer spruce rosewood dreads, 14 and 12, let's take a listen.
All right, so there you have it. We switched guitars. You got to listen to both of them. What do you think between these two guitars? Let us know in the comments below if you had a preference. Did you have a preference? Did you like the 12 fret or the 14 fretter?
I love them both. I like the 12 fret more.
Yeah.
I think it's just cool. It's very large in its sound. I'm happy with both of these for how much of that spruce rosewood profile that you get out of them.
Nice.
Ton of bass, ton of really nice sparkle on top, but just volume for days coming out of these things. Easy playability, very comfortable necks. I just think there's a void in the guitar market for a nice 12 fret dread that hits all the boxes for me. I dig it. Would not be unhappy with this one.
I like the slotted headstock a lot, and I just love the simplistic abalone inlays that they each have. They're fantastic guitars. They look really good. They play really, really well. The setup is fantastic, and they do have a really big sound. Before we were shooting, I was talking to Josh about it and just how largies they are.
I will also say there's another Laureate that is a Daybreak finish that they just put out that I think is the LP66, possibly. It's a 66, which in Alvarez world is all mahogany.
Mm-hmm.
And I think something like this right here could satisfy somebody that's looking for one of those DYM70s or a DYM60. I mean, there's all those Yairi guitars that we've shown off on the channel that are really, really hard to get. But that all mahogany has continued to be the big, heavy hitter. And so for them to bring an all mahogany to the Laureate, I think it's a great call. We're getting all these in, so we'll be doing more videos. But if you love those guitars, you want to spend about half the price and get something that is meticulously crafted, I think the Laureates are a really
they're
good
like
choice.
less than half the price in some cases. I mean, these are really, really good values. I cannot state that enough. So $14.99. Now, the one caveat I would say is I think every guitar should come with a case or bag. These come with a gig bag. Kind of wish they came with a case, but I also get it. At $14.99, you can buy a case. But it's a pretty nice bag, embroidered Alvarez bag that they come with. And the pickup alone, you know, that's a big deal. That's what, a $300 some odd pickup just for the hi-fi Artisanal. It's like $299.
But then install and all that, I think that's a great value, and they're also looking to what's the pickup and more people are going for. Just like, you know, I was talking to somebody who works on guitars the other day. A lot of people going for K&Ks because they don't want as much going on, a little bit less invasive, but also a lot of people don't want undersaddles these days for some reason.
You want to talk pickups real quick?
Let's talk pickups.
I don't like an undersaddle pickup if I can avoid it. Here's the reason. I want the saddle to have contact with the bridge, if at all possible. Now, on a bone saddle in particular, sometimes, and this is a real thing, because I've seen people on Reddit be like, well, that's not a real thing. If you have a bone saddle, you can have density pocket issues. And what that means is that acoustically, you're not going to probably notice that. But with an undersaddle pickup, you can have string-to-string balance issues. So why is it sometimes something like Tusk or Micarta instead of a bone saddle in a factory environment? That's why. But you can do an individual bone saddle and have something under the saddle, and it's fine. But what I like about not having an under saddle pickup, in addition to having the connection, you know, between the saddle and the bridge, not having any interference, is that it's all the same technology. It's all a piezo crystal kind of pressure response deal that we have with acoustic guitar pickups. And when it's underneath the saddle, it's under pressure, and when it's on the bridge plate, it's not. It's kind of like the idea that Taylor did by moving it behind the saddle, right? You can adjust that. And when it's not under pressure, you get a more natural dynamic response from the pickup. So that's another reason K&K has been popular. It's a reason why I think the hi-fi is popular. Could they be more feedback prone? Potentially. I think feedback is usually an issue of gain, mix, and learning how to use a notch filter. But they're very, very natural sounding. And so I like this. And unlike a passive K&K where you have to use something off board, this is very streamlined, and you have controls and you have a good signal. So I'm excited to see this particular pickup in this guitar. I'd like to see if we start seeing some of the duets pop up from manufacturers. That'd be very cool.
It would be very cool. I think all in all, great looking guitar. I'm just happy with it. I think that a lot of people looking in this price range, you got a lot of options, but these are for you traditionalists, a pretty dang good option.
Yeah, definitely some of the best options at that price point. So if you're interested in knowing more about these guitars or anything else from Alvarez, you should visit our website, which is
alamomusic.com.
You can check out all the photos, all the specs. You can buy online, and you can also chat with us if you have any questions. Just reach out through the little box, say, Chris, Coop, I'm curious about whatever, and we'll be glad to help you out. And if you are curious about other things, you might want to stick around on this channel. So make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and we will see you next time.